Commission on September 11th. And for the first few minutes, we're waiting for our third Commissioner, Philip. And in the meantime, we'll read the minutes and we could discuss a couple of things until Philip arrives. Do we have any mail
We do.
or anything? Do we have
Yeah,
any
bills
forest
too.
cutting plans?
One came in today, actually.
Do I need to turn that on or did Lisa do that? Is this good?
It's on.
Okay.
She said they were ready. This just came in today. These are the bills.
All right. The forest cutting plans come in from anybody who is taking out a forest cutting plan and they work with the state forester.
Okay.
But we get the plans and they're rough. They're really, really rough. Hi, Philip.
Hey,
This is your new seat.
I saw, I figured that was gonna be the case.
Oh, and I left everything over there. Let me go get it.
So they'll give us a layout like this.
Okay.
And then a little more information. And so that's just essentially showing where some of the wetlands are, where their access road is, and where
Quite all right.
they call them stands. There's sections that they break the forest cutting plan into.
It's
Okay.
unusual.
And if we see
Way more
anything
routine.
that seems a little egregious, which is real rough, if we happen to know the property, we can call up the state forester and say,
We're just going over
would
a
you
plan
please
that
look
came
out
out
for?
today.
Okay.
Or something, but mostly it's a courtesy, and
Okay.
unless he hears from us within days, they'll approve the plan. Yeah. So it's really an FYI for us. I think twice in my 17 years have I called them up and say I have a concern about a property, but mostly it's just an FYI to us
Okay.
that something happens. Hi,
Hey.
you made pretty good time considering.
Yeah. Drove down from northern Vermont.
Oh, I thought you were on the North Shore.
No, northern Vermont. It was
Yeah.
way up there.
Wow.
Been up there since Monday.
All right. Where our meeting is officially opened,
Excellent.
we can get started. Welcome. This is Karen's first meeting. Thank
Hi.
you for joining. And we look forward to, I'm glad you have your regulations downloaded. There's a lot to read. It's okay. There is a lot to read. Yeah.
There it is.
And there's plenty of trainings that are available. The big one is in May.
Okay.
But you'll be able to pick up various trainings along the way if you have the time.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Great. Let's get started. We won't wait any longer. We have a request for determination of applicability from the town of Warren for a safety complex. And Jeff, would you like to get up and tell us a little about it? I will open up the,
Absolutely.
I have to be a little.
I may feel the need to walk up to the phone and screens.
You, absolutely, you can do that, and while you do that, just for our, if anybody is, if anybody's watching, or just, I'll use my mouse to follow.
All right, so by way of introduction, my name is Jeff McElravy. I'm a principal with Tecton Architects out of Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island. And I am the Director of Public Safety Design at Tecton. And we've been commissioned by the town to do a study of public safety, and we also looked at town offices as well, looking for whether there were opportunities for synergies with between the programs, and then exploring possible site locations. So we have explored quite a number of site locations. We're going to be reviewing those in an upcoming meeting with the select board later on. But the one that we're interested in today is a parcel between Route 67 and Old West Warren Road. There's a hayfield there now.
There's a
There you
closer
go,
look
there's the
at it.
parcel. When we first pulled up the site on GIS, we found a few things out right away. First, the big wetland that you see delineated with the green line on this image here. We also, turned on the topography and found that we have like 50 feet of slope from the lowest contour in the wetland all the way up to the top of the hill, right along Old West Warren Road. What we didn't see in our very first GIS investigation was that blue line running down the side, which is a stream. We had reached out to Marion DePinto with Three Oaks Environmental, and she right away found the GIS with that stream and said, "Oh, you've got an issue here." So we arranged to go out and walk the site, and we followed that stream all the way up to Old West Warren Road and looked and saw it continuing up through the residential properties further up above our site. We also walked the whole length of the site, we walked along the edge of the wetland. We sort of got the sense that the wetland determination on the GIS might be slightly more generous than what we actually saw in the field. We have not flagged the wetlands yet, we haven't mapped them yet, we're at a very conceptual stage. Certainly, if we were to continue exploring the site, that would be work that we would do. But right away, I started asking questions about the appropriateness of the site for the proposed development. And obviously, with the introduction of the stream, it looked to me like the usable portion of the site that I couldn't get to without crossing either the stream or the wetland. And so I had asked, what's the possibility? And Marianne said, you may want to reach out to the Conservation Commission and have a discussion about that. And so I did reach out to your chair, and we had a couple conversations about it. And that ultimately led to the decision that we ought to come and talk about it with everybody so that we get the read of the full commission in determining whether or not, what are the restrictions that we're going to face, what is the viability of the site, because it does, it offers some really good space, it offers really great access potentially to Route 67, and it looks like it's got some promise, but it also has some challenges. And so if we go to my first site plan.
So before you move on, I just
sure.
want to point out that 310 CMR is the set of regulations that we follow for Conservation Commission. And the regulations around streams are, rivers and streams are very quirky and detailed. And one of the things that is important here that gives you guys a little more leeway is that this particular stream is coming up from groundwater. So it becomes an unregulated intermittent stream. Bank exists, but the stream itself is not considered regulated because it doesn't come from a body of water above it. So that makes things just a little bit easier, but the bank still has the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah.
But it becomes a little less restrictive because once it becomes an official stream, then there's more restrictions around it. So there's some strange technicalities, and that's one that it benefits you.
Yeah.
All right.
And I will point out, when we walked it, I am no expert on vegetation. Marion did point out that we saw a lot of what she called upland varieties around the stream. She didn't see a lot of vegetation that indicated that that area is a wetland. Certainly when we walked down where they indicated wetland, we found plenty of vegetation. It was indicative of a wetland area.
Right,
yeah.
okay, so we'll go to your,
I'm gonna point you really.
Oh, yeah, you just
I'll
go.
You go back to that, I'll just show you here. Just go back to that previous image.
oh, yeah. area?
That one's pumped up.
Okay,
Yeah, so we actually came in on the site right next to the stream,
yeah,
followed it all the way up, and then went across the field, and then cut right down through what we perceived to be the narrowest point that was ever down here. So we saw that whole, the extent of it on the sidewalk. All right, now we'll go.
okay, now look at
So my initial thought when I was speaking with American is that, you know, that maybe is there a way to cross the wetland and do some replication at the narrowest point, which was here. And I had actually done a site plan, a site drawing of that, looking at that, and that actually came up in the conversations that I had with the chair. And we, understanding the nature of this stream, thought that maybe a more appropriate solution might be to try to cross the stream with the box culvert and then come down, down to Route 67 on that side, because this is the whole area of the GIS indicated wetland is to the west of that stream. So basically, I took the site plan that I had drawn, I flipped my building around and reworked my roadway, and of course, the conversation then went on to how far away from the wetland edge am I? And of course, this is all caveated in that we haven't actually flagged the wetland. But in this particular drawing, what I used is the aerial images to find, you know, where I believe that the wetland edge, because you saw the difference between the hayfield vegetation and the wetland vegetation. It could be, you know, it could be one way or the other. But you can see in this particular rendering, you know, that I have a little bit of a retaining wall that's literally 20 feet from the edge of the wetland. And then I get a little bit further out to the roadway here. It's probably 25 to the roadway. So I don't get a lot of separation between the wetland. And what really drives me here is the apparatus base for the police station, the fire station. I'm going to give you a little bit more context with which to work. Because I had that 50-foot of slope going up, my building actually steps along the hillside. So as I come in this drive, my public entry is right here, and you would actually enter on that lower level into the police department. There's a sort of a shared lobby with a connection upstairs. So my police station sits at this lower level. You actually go up one floor. So I have fire station space on top of my police station, and then all of my apparatus bays are sitting basically up one floor. So you can go from the fire station space right to the apparatus floor on the same level, but it is literally one floor up from here. I then pick up another retaining wall up here to get me up to the highest elevation along Old West Warren Road. So I am very much stair-stepping, and because my apparatus bays are located here, and what we really try to do is get the opportunity for using both directions out of the apparatus bays. I get, you know, a 72-foot wide apparatus bay. Generally, we like to get a 50-foot apron outside of the apparatus space so that a ladder truck can pull out and be completely out of the door before it starts turning. I can't tell you how many fire stations I see where the truck clips the back of the door frame, so we like to get that. And then, of course, then I've got to get a roadway to sweep down. So, you know, I'm looking at 172 feet plus the road itself, which takes me upwards of 212 feet of width here. If I turn it this way, I'm going to have a very tall wall here and a very tall wall here.
Oh, I see.
This is the orientation that actually
Right, okay.
works best with the grade. And then my stair step the building.
So
But
can I ask you a question
Of course.
about, this is the new grading right here? I'm showing it on here for you.
Yes.
That's the new grading?
That's
That dotted line?
the existing grade.
Oh, it is,
So my
okay.
new
Oh, I
grade
see.
comes up and sweeps and hits my retaining wall. So that's the existing grade. So I'm doing a pretty good cut in there too.
Okay, all right. Green area right here
Yes,
and green area right here.
yes.
So one of the things about this that I was, not that I need to rework any of this. All right, you know what, before I even get into that, do you want us to show the next one?
Sure, yeah, let's take a look at the next one. So I asked myself, and this is a little bit independent here at the moment, but I asked myself, is there any way for me to increase the separation to the wetland? And so I looked at my floor plans for the police station, and I didn't see a lot of opportunity. It's pretty narrow. It's a double-loaded corridor with some larger functions on the backside, some smaller offices on the front. I didn't see a lot of room there. But when I got back to the apparatus bay and started looking at the bays themselves and the list of equipment that was going in the bays, what I noted is we had 4 pieces of equipment that are substantially shorter. And I said, what if I took one bay out and made 4 smaller garages perpendicular so that I could shorten this length? And so that's what I did. So if we look at that next slide. There's where my 4 shorter bays live. What I did is there's some apparatus support space, we call it, but it's basically turnout gear room and equipment storage that was right here. I put it in the back here, and then I put those 4 small garages so they face this way. And then I reduced this width by 1 full garage bay. So basically, I ended up shortening my building width by probably 25 feet. And then I reworked and kind of tucked in a little bit tighter. One nice thing that happened here, which I didn't anticipate when I came up with the idea, is I actually ended up sliding up further up the slope, which helped me a lot too, because I'm not as deep into the earth here at the top as I anticipated, and I get a little bit more room to work with. But you can see, and I also don't need a retaining wall at the lower edge.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Okay.
So now I've got a 50-foot, again,
Yeah.
caveating the line,
Yeah.
I've got a 50 opportunity for a 50-foot separation down there. It's a little bit, the chief this is literally earlier this evening was the first time he heard about this idea, so we've still got vetting to do. I still do have a site that requires some retaining walls. So there's cost implications and all sorts of other things that have nothing to do with wetlands. But, so those are the 2 ideas, and I just wanted to get some feedback. If I'm told that, the buffer needs to be X amount and I can't work it, then that's good information, because that helps drive the town towards maybe looking at alternative sites.
I think your 50-foot is a lot better. On large projects, we usually hold people to that 50 feet. That's our minimum, so you're meeting that as, caveated at that line. So I definitely prefer this plan over the first one.
So, one of the things, 50 feet is important, so one of the things that will have to take place while you're doing this is that you're gonna have temporary impacts
Yes.
with construction equipment, but nothing can go into the wetlands. So the temporary impacts, and I would encourage you to not sod, just, the meadow is fantastic.
Yes.
And it's better on multiple levels. It consumes more water, so the stormwater, it just, wildlife, et cetera. So if you can turn it back into meadow at that spot after impacting it, that would be ideal. The 50 feet is really great, and then the limit of work. So ultimately, somebody would have to create plans that would show where the limit of work is, and then, I don't know that we would need to approve that. I mean, ideally, we would see the plans and have input. But if you're looking for a full-on determination based on these plans, we're going to assume, we can't really assume where the limit of work is. So we can say, and to have a conversation and kick the can, and if you have solid plans, we can give you a full determination, but based on this, we can say the 50 foot, in our opinion, and of course, this is the 3 of us, looks great. It
So-
would work for us.
I will note that you'll just see one modification in my topography that I made down here. And I'm reasonably certain with some fine tuning, I could even get rid of that so that I can keep much of that slope going down to the wetland at its natural grade, and try to limit the amount of disruption down there. Obviously, when we begin construction, I've got 2 ways in and out of this site. This one is on a residential road.
Yeah,
Believe me, there was one point where I thought, geez, it'd be nice if I could access the whole public safety site from here, and I just couldn't do that to the neighbors. The other one is here, so I would expect that the biggest disruption at the beginning is going to be from a site perspective, getting that alternate roadway in.
Right. Now, the second thing that you will need to do is you would need to file a notice of intent for the stream crossing, you know, ultimately, but, you know, from my opinion, not the rest of the board, that's not an issue. It's a very doable thing. It's particularly because minimally it's an intermittent stream, and it's one that's, falls under that wonky category of being somewhat non-jurisdictional.
Yeah, and there is, you know, there is a little bit of latitude there. I know that in the past, I've had to cross over streams, and there can be some restrictions on what the clearance under that culvert is. So I think we do have the ability to adjust that, and create that opportunity if necessary.
Fox culvert is ideal because then it doesn't impact.
Yeah.
And so, you know, understandably, that adds a little expense, but it also, it's what DEP would encourage.
Yep.
And we try to encourage that as well, just because, you know, it's better on multiple levels for the environment, for the critters, for, really for the flow of water.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, in the future, you won't have to go back and fix it. In the long run, it ends up being, I don't know if it breaks even, because I don't know what the costs are, but you
The
don't
good
have to
news
pay
is
for it.
it's in my estimate already. I managed to
Oh,
get
it
that
is.
in there, so.
So, I would imagine, and I'm just gonna throw this at Adam, I would imagine that you would prefer this because of,
Well, I mean, you know, ideally, any public safety building now, on the fire side of it, you know, they encourage drive-through bays for a couple of different reasons, you know, safety being the biggest one of them.
Sure.
You know, not backing these large vehicles in and out of these spaces and stuff like that, that, you know, these drive-through bays, you know, take that out of the equation, you know, you can pull in, pull out from both sides. That second drawing there, again, it's the first time, as Jeff mentioned, that I'd seen it, it's certainly workable. I mean, we have some support vehicles that are much smaller in nature that we could, you know, use, you know, some bays that would, you know, we could do that, as long as the main apparatus, we'd be able to get through, and that way we could face them in alternate directions if we decided that was the best makeup for us, but, you know, this site is nice because it does have two ways in and out, you know, and ideally that's what you'd want, you know, I get access from both 67 and Old West Warren Road, and this site is also nice because it is kind of smack dab in the middle of both communities, so this is one that we looked at, and, you know, we wanted to come here tonight to make sure, we did our due diligence to make sure that it was something that was even feasible, and if it wasn't feasible at this point because of conservation matters and environmental matters, then we look for another site, so.
so this would not be a drive-through at all.
With these four bays.
Those four,
Those four,
would be
but
drive-
these would
This
be,
one's not.
they're not, okay.
Because the back wall of that is gonna end up retaining some soil. I mean, I think this line up here is 620.
Okay,
I imagine at my highest point on the back of the building, I would be down at 614. Because there's room to get a little bit of slope.
yeah.
It does continue to slope this way from that high
Sure,
point.
you're gonna do a little
Which is
amphitheater
gonna help
on
me
it.
with my drainage, so that I'm not gonna end up with lots of water piling up on the building.
Right.
So, you know, in the previous drawing, this was a retaining wall. Now it's the back wall of a garage.
Right.
So I actually use the wall of the garage to do my retaining, save a little bit of money because I'm not building two.
Does this kick in stormwater standards?
I was just about to ask, that's what I was trying to
I
get to.
would expect it probably would.
Do you
Okay,
think you'll need a retention pond or detention pond on the property?
It
'Cause
is
that'll
a
have to be-
possibility, and if, you know, I will, at the very least, I would have to do some stormwater management. We've done the underground chambers, but if we could work a retention pond, that would be awesome as well.
or is it possible in New England to do, like a vegetative,
Probably gonna need to be a
Bioswale?
big rain garden for a parking lot that size.
We could do that in combination with some other measures. We've done that,
Right.
actually.
but you know, what happens in the winter when it's really more problematic? Anyway, curious. Okay, I'm gonna go back up to this one. One of the things I noticed is that this shape, right, it just narrows over here.
Yes.
If you could move the narrow a little bit so it was over here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, when I drew the next one, I actually slid it a little further this way. And there was a couple reasons why I didn't do it on this one right away. we're always worried about response time when we're designing public safety facilities. And I really liked how direct this route was, but, you know, if we did accept a little bit more this way,
Yeah,
then I could probably increase the narrowest part by some. I don't know that I'd get it to 50.
what do you think you can get it to?
40 tops, probably 30 to 40. Unless I have some other brilliant idea that comes to me. Maybe if I found a different place to put my public parking.
Well, that's the other thing I was thinking, is the spaces could be moved to one side or the other, or,
Yeah, I mean, if I moved this way, arguably I could put my parking spaces on the other side of that apron, except that I don't love putting pedestrians where they cross the emergency response route.
sure.
So I had spoken with Adam recently about, instead of being a perpendicular angle on that big bay, if you kind of moved it 45 degrees, moved the facility to the west and up the hill, I don't know how that would work out.
I did try that.
You did try it?
I did try
Okay.
that. I didn't.
Didn't pan out.
You know, again, this is early conceptual.
Sure.
You know, when if the project were to move forward at this site, there would be a lot more design time spent on it.
Sure.
There may be other solutions, but I think the really important thing is, you know, number one, is there a way to make this site viable, which with the 50-foot, it sounds like
Yes,
probably.
Possibly, yeah.
And, you know, and then, you know, are there any other restrictions that we should pay attention to if we move forward considering this site?
so, one of the things you do want to note is this distance too, because you do have bank,
Yep.
so that should be around 50 feet
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess right now I'm sitting at, there's 40. Yeah, I'm probably 40 right here, a little bit less here, and a little bit more there. I could easily, that 10 feet to get to 50 or 20 feet to get to 50 only helps the concern you had about this tight location.
Well, you know, it seems like it, when you look at the picture, it looks like it mirrors the shape of the wetland. And so if you just scooted it over a little bit, it seems like you might be able to eke out the extra
Talk to
space that
Adam
you
and see
need,
how much he minds the extra drive.
right?
You know, like I said, this is something that we'll adapt to as we have to, if it's a viable site. I mean, we're just trying to look at a couple sites here to see whether or not we have something that's functional or not. So
Yeah, I mean.
I'm sure that shifting it one way or the other is not the biggest deal in the world.
You know, but as we had that conversation about, you know, this is going to take us into the future and we, you know, you have to plan for, you know, different equipment, larger equipment, maybe additional equipment. So we do want to make sure that this is going to accommodate the future and not just what we
One of
have
the biggest
today.
problems that some communities make is they plan for now. And
Right.
that's just not, you can't do that. You can't do that. You gotta look 50, 75 years down the road. I mean, you know, we have things, you know, we obviously are gonna be replacing apparatus. Right now, we're purchasing apparatus that's built custom made to get into one of the stations that we have now. So, I mean, you know, that's just the reality that we're in. So,
Yeah,
you know, so, you know, going to something like this is gonna be huge for us, you know, potentially, because we won't be limited to that. I mean, we can easily fit apparatus, aerial apparatus and stuff in there. We can't do that now. We have no choice. We have no aerial, we have no ladder truck,
Right.
you know, because we can't fit it, you know, so, you know, this will not, something like this will alleviate those issues.
Okay,
Looks potentially viable to me.
it really does.
Thank you.
It really, really does. And if there's a tiny area that you need to be a little bit closer, generally we're amenable, we just don't want the whole area, you know, it's
Yep,
to
understood.
be as, you know, that close. We'd like you to stay as, you know, 50 feet or more away, but if there's something that you just can't work out, it's not going to be a deal breaker.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, like, as I said, if we move forward with this site, there'll be a lot more design time. Maybe we'll find some nice ways to balance some of these ideas that we're hearing and make a better solution for everybody. So, it'll be exciting.
Absolutely. So, do we want to make it, well, how do we do this? We wait?
Yeah, I don't think we need to do anything yet.
Okay.
This is still the very early stages.
It's an RDA, so there needs to be some kind of responsive, or we just postpone it until,
Continue it.
we continue it until, we reach a point where it makes sense to have
Yeah,
that
we don't have any
conversation.
delineated wetlands or anything, so I don't think we can make a determination one way or another. Not yet.
Are you comfortable just we'll just continue it until you need it to be, we either close it with, this isn't going to work out, as in, you guys pull it and you move it to another site, or you have plans?
Yeah, I think that's fine, you know, whatever. Obviously, if we looked at this and said, no, that's important. Right now,
Or-
I can caveat the, you know, the considerations in my report so that everything's aware.
The other decision that we can make is, Corinne, do you have paperwork just so I can look on, and make it easier for me?
Yep. This is all there. That's the whole thing.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, Jim Ferrera, Town Administrator. What we're looking to get accomplished within the next week or so is Jeff is, as he mentioned earlier, he's gonna have a final version of this study ready to be submitted to the selectmen on next Thursday and to the public. And I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of questions by the public and the selectmen about this project, not only this site, but the other sites that will be revealed at that time. But it would be helpful if we could incorporate the comments that were made tonight by the board into Jeff's study of this version for Thursday.
Ah, okay. So here's another thing I'm thinking, just, you know, the best way to approach this. One thing is that we can issue a determination, and we issue a positive determination that says,
Maintaining 50-foot setbacks.
well, the positive determination says that you're gonna have to file a notice of intent, because you're gonna have to
You're
file a
right.
notice of intent anyway for the stream crossing. But what we can say in language, because you don't do delineations, the boundaries, the work described, we could do something that says area work on reference plan and document is subject to review and approval by Warren Conservation Commission. Oh, no, we don't have that. There's a bunch of new options, and I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The notice of front, it's not riverfront.
Is there any issue with the continuation? Does that have any?
No, I said,
Negative
as long
implications
as
for
we
you?
could, incorporate the comments
We
that
can
were
send
made
you
by
an
the
email with
board.
some official comments.
I think that maybe it's best that we do. Why don't we continue this? We can submit comments that say, you would need to file a notice of intent for the stream crossing. We don't see that as problematic. If the finished product remains 50 feet from the wetland, and that there's temporary impacts closer to the wetland, never within it, that are restored to its original condition. I mean, that's ultimately what we would look for.
I think that would be fine, that would be
Okay.
great.
Okay.
All right. You have a question?
If I may,
Yes.
Madam Chair, Ray Capaco, town resident. How does one determine the actual wetlands boundary?
The town would hire a wetland specialist to come out and delineate the wetland, and what they would do is they would go out with the tool to look at the soils, and they also look at the vegetation. And the combination of the two determine whether it's a wetland or upland. And then they would mark the boundary, I mean officially what they would do before construction, they would mark the boundary with flagging, and everything above that would be upland and everything below that would be wetland.
So apologies for naivety about how this all works, but how can you submit a final plan not knowing where that boundary is?
This is not a final plan, we would not submit a final plan plan without mapping the wetland, and then actually surveying the flags so that we have them on the final plan. The problem is when you're at the study level and you're looking at multiple sites, you can rack up a lot of money, a lot of expense, wetland delineations, topographic surveys, test borings, and environmental. So
It's
for
expensive.
A lot of the time with this early stage, we rely on the GIS information.
I thought I heard a comment about a final plan being presented to the selectmen, so I might have misunderstood something.
No.
The final result of the study, which will actually
Okay.
have this site
A final,
and others.
a final study, not a
Yeah.
final plan.
So, the other thing is that we did go on site to look at it, and based on what we see on the physical site versus, the GIS maps, they're estimates, they're very rough estimates, and it's usually give or take 6 feet.
Okay.
They looked smaller than they do on the GIS maps. So the wetlands look like, it looks like he has a little more wiggle room than what we see on the plans, on the GIS maps.
Particularly in the area just off the screen here.
Oh, yeah, I can show.
When I zoomed in on the aerial.
So this little section over here looked much narrower
Yes.
than, in person than it does on the plans.
So you've got some reasonable confidence that you're within what
Yes.
would be the actual official wetlands boundary?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, like
Yeah.
I said, there's lots more design phases. We gotta find 6 feet, we'll find 6 feet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion to continue
When do you want to
the
continue?
meeting
The next
do you
meeting?
want to, is next month?
I will not have results.
How about 2 months from now? Why don't we say November, and if it's not available, we'll just continue it again with your permission?
That sounds great.
Okay. That actually works out good for us too. All right, so can I have a motion to,
Make a motion to continue the hearing for the RDA for the town of Warren until November 13th.
all right, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
We will send you, do you want us to send, who's receiving the document?
If you could send me the comments and then I'll forward them to Jeff.
Perfect, okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good.
And I will bid you all a good evening.
It was nice meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
And I'm asking, are you here just visiting the meeting, or are you?
Just visiting.
Oh, you are, okay. Wasn't sure if you had business with us.
Right.
All right. Yes. Gentlemen, would you like to give us an update?
Those are moved over in their new house as I'm taking, or as I'm moving.
Oh, okay, you know what, let me, I'm sorry, say that again.
Step forward.
Yes, if you
Camera.
could come forward and sit in the front row.
You guys are all typed out.
We are,
Yes,
we
those are.
are.
When I was seeing people, when I get the meeting before, we're like, oh my god.
Usually
You guys
located.
building a new public safety complex?
They're in the
Or
very,
possibly.
very early phases.
Is that where the flea market is, across from the gas station, that piece of property?
No, it'll be a little further down 67.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool. I like the second idea better.
Okay, so we have gentlemen visiting us from 276 Reed Street.
Yes, please.
We're having a conversation. They have some backyard animals that were a little bit of a nuisance with
Neighbors.
this neighbors, and they have been working diligently to address the issue. So what have you done this past month?
As of right now, those, they are moved over in their new home, so they're all set. As I move the animals over, I'm bringing down some of the fencing to lessen that space where we're not really supposed to be now. Pigs will go in this weekend, their house is done. It's just kind of hard to move them afterwards, they're a little stubborn. But that'll be done this weekend. And as that comes down, the fencing will come down and taken apart at the bottom half of the other house, the first house that we took down that was too far in.
Yeah.
So that's almost done. We're getting all the scrap and this and that in the pile to set it, to burn it, or to throw it away, or whatever.
He's made a lot of progress. Literally, he has probably, like you said, another weekend, and the pigs are gonna be moved over, because he already has the house built for the pigs and everything, the pen's already set up for the pigs.
Nice.
He's so close,
Everything is done, and
Just
as everything
working
gets
on
used, there's less material on that rear foundation, so that's also coming down at the same time. So it's all revolving, you know, into a finished puzzle.
Seems like everything's making progress toward
100%.
our agreement. Excellent.
And the platform,
Yeah.
did
We
you,
have to, that was one thing I wanna ask you guys about, you had mentioned, and actually, he's not here, but, he went outside, there was a form that we had to fill out, but, we approached you guys with the idea of, taking where the barn used to be when you bought the house, because, yes, the wetlands, median has changed because of the trees, who knows, or just nature, whatever. We were asking, we want to take the platform itself, because we did this, we did it now because we took the walls and moved them actually. We'll abut it because he has goat pen, pig pen, and we can take it, slide it right forward, up against it, boom, and move it out of the wetlands, and pretty much reconstruct the existing barn that was there. But there was a form that you guys were telling us about, was seemed to be gonna be a copy of that form or something maybe?
well, if you were considering leaving it in the wetlands, you would need to file a notice of intent.
We were actually gonna make it easy and,
I wouldn't
pull it
recommend that.
away. Okay?
Right.
I wouldn't recommend that. But if you pull it away, you do need to pull it outside with enough buffer,
Yep, that's.
you know, level with the pool, where the pool is, that line is.
It's gonna be damn close, it'll be damn close. And, it'll be out of pretty much the platform. It was the barn that was there when you bought the house, which pretty much the barn was there, but the roof and stuff, it was paving in, so we took the walls and moved down actually, the platform, the foundation is still there, and it's all pressure treated, it's very good wood. And, we were gonna take the actual foundation and just move it out of the wetlands, that way down the road, years from now, who knows, if the wetland like proceeds forward, it's at least completely out of it, we're gonna abut it, pretty much there's a gateway between the two pens. That separates the pigs and the goats, we're gonna abut it right between, that way he has, cause like I said, we're just gonna put the feed and stuff like that, there's no,
see, so yeah.
that way, yep,
So-
access.
Did I hear you say that you were going to drag it out?
If it's possible. I'll break it down, so there.
We have a four-wheeler and stuff like that, and everything.
Well-
Well, it's not wet, it's just, yeah, linear face, it's
I
not.
think that was in.
It is a wetland, it was.
Well, technically, it might be technical, but.
We
it
are
is.
technical.
I know.
So-
What's better, what's better, I mean, what do you?
Remember our conversation, get 8 of the strongest friends, lift that thing up and carry it. You can, right, is that,
Yeah, I think it'd be better to pick it up.
That's what we're gonna, or I should say.
Either
Drag
take it apart and move it piece by piece.
Yep,
pick it
and
up
if we have to, we'll split it, yes, sir. But, we're
Drag
gonna
it
actually,
through
how about it, we're gonna pull
surface.
forward probably, what, Joe, probably 5-6 feet to bring it to it, right? Actually, probably 10 actually, so.
or you have, yes, I mean, that would be ideal.
That's what he was just calling.
Get your cousins and
Yeah, totally.
make sure they're all,
And literally,
You're
it'll
strong.
be nowhere's, it'll be away from the skunk cabbage patches, everything, it's because pretty much, where the platform exists right now, yes, there's some random skunk cabbage patches and stuff like that, but if you actually talk about the line of like where it actually starts, it's probably like a foot, say the platform is here, we're probably talking a foot into the platform, that's where it median starts, so we're gonna pull like 10 feet, pick it up and move it. And we just wanted to see if we get that form so we can proceed with that, if possible.
if you do that, you don't need the form.
Yeah, you won't need it.
You don't need the form, we're asking you to move it, don't drag it
It's
through.
done, it's done.
Lift it up, move it. And then when it's in, before you get like too fancy fixing things up, call us, we'll come and visit the site. we'll
Kind of just make sure it's okay.
make sure everything's in, you know, we're on the same page, and then we should be through,
Awesome.
okay?
That's amazing.
You have a number, right? Yes, okay.
And like you were saying, all he wants to do pretty much is, because naturally goats, pigs, and it's just gonna be the same width and length, and there's gonna pretty much be a little barn, and that's where the feed's gonna go. So that way, in the winter, especially and stuff like that, you can put the four-wheeler right there, and boom, boom, you know, both animals
The
done.
winners, they can just go to hay for hay, so the winners would be the biggest concern.
But no
Other
weight
than
in
that,
there.
it'll be empty virtually the rest of the year.
It's just pretty much to help Tom to make it easier, and that way he doesn't waste money for the hay and stuff like that, and the feeding and stay out of the weather.
Yep.
I guess I would have one more comment. Is you're gonna be riding four-wheeler down there, just be careful not to make, well, definitely not in the wetlands, but by the feed area, try not to make ruts, kick up a lot of loose soil, because then you're gonna have more water moving that loose soil.
Yeah, exactly, no, we're not gonna dig no trenches, pretty much in the four-wheeler is where the pens are. The four-wheeler is gonna stop right there. Yep, the barn is actually gonna now stop the traffic of everything, pretty much.
Ah, okay. So everything is gonna be on the roadside
Yep,
of the barn?
pretty much think of it as, pen like this, like, the pen for the pigs is like this, over here. Probably like a 6-foot section like this, and, we have the goats right here, and there's just a little narrow road, like
Yeah.
I said, about 6 foot, and it probably goes down about 8. And the pad for where the existing barn used to be is over here. We're gonna now pick it up and we're gonna put it up against, because it's wide enough, so it's actually gonna cover and overhang about 2 feet on each side. And now that's gonna block everything up from like this, where nothing is gonna go back.
That's how I see that.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
So remember the, 10 feet up at least minimum? Is that-
Well, your structure should be further up
As close as possible.
Close as possible to the road.
to the road.
That's what we'll do.
Not,
We'll butt
not
it
to
right
the
to the
wetlands.
fence.
Right, exactly. I mean, we understand that your house was built in, before any of this. All of this regulation was in place, and so you have a backyard, people have been using that backyard, so there's a little bit of leeway there, but there's still regulations, and your neighbors and everybody else need to follow these regulations, and the regulations ultimately say that, you know, you really need to be away from the wetlands when you're building anything. I understand you're not digging or dredging, you're just putting it on top. That is the saving grace in this situation.
Appreciate that.
So we're trying to be flexible for you, because we understand you have a tight space. But the further you move it from the wetlands, the better. And then it just has the wiggle room, right? I mean, it sounds like it's not a bad idea to have that structure there. You already have degraded, it's
gonna
not,
pretty much make it to where
pristine.
nobody can go to the wetlands anymore. It's gonna block that off pretty much. It's gonna actually protect it at that point, I think.
so the whole point of this is that you don't really want feces, you don't want structures, and the whole thing about the wetland is that you don't want to eliminate its ability to retain water. And so as soon as you start digging a hole and filling that hole with cement or something that's non-porous, then it becomes a problem. This is sitting on top, but there's no water that can get into it. If there is any flooding, you want to be further away. If the wetland, we have major rains, one of the beaver dams blow, the water's gonna come up. So you're not gonna want that for your hay or your feed either. So the further away that you can get, the better.
I've been using basically the animal pen that's like, they call it like fine line.
Yeah.
And obviously everything beyond it would be closer to the house.
Right, and so, right, I mean, ultimately, your animals, we gave you more leeway because the regulations around the animals are, you know, we don't have a lot of teeth around that, but we do around the structures. And the thing about the you know, the closer your animals are to the water and the wetlands, the greater chance that the manure gets wet, and then that's when it becomes problematic because the wet manure smells. And then your neighbors call, and then we all, right.
No problems with that, because we actually made a separate compost pile.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually further up and off to the left. It's where once a week. He takes all of his the feces and the manure, it gets shoveled out, it gets put in the compost, which is like 20 feet away, even further from it, so that's all removed. There's no contamination with the wetlands at that point, nothing.
And, you know, anything that you can do to prevent, you know, to put up a wall, so rain, wetness, it doesn't go that way. It, you know what I'm, anything that you can do to separate.
I have plenty of cows.
Yeah, yep, he can
Yeah.
actually,
To make more, because I probably will need one or two more, so I definitely have to do the
100%.
Good, all right. All right,
That was the only question, mainly, because we're doing that, we don't need the form, we can,
You don't need to.
you don't need the form unless you are doing work in, yeah.
You don't wanna go down that road.
You don't wanna go,
No,
it's
no, yeah.
expensive, it's expensive,
Oh, we
just
don't
the
like that.
application is expensive,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
We'll continue on then, and,
Okay.
like you said, probably another week, right?
So by next time will be pretty much, should be 95%.
By the next meeting.
We'll be building the barn probably by, actually, or if not done with the barn by the time you see us next summer.
Well, maybe one thing you wanna do is call us when you have, before you start
Oh,
building.
yes, move the
Yeah.
platform, and yes.
When you have the platform in a spot that you think you wanna have it, give us a call, we'll go and check it out, and thumbs up, thumbs down.
Sweet.
All right, very good, appreciate it. And thanks for stopping
I'll take it.
and giving us the update. Yes. I am hearing is new.
More people the better.
Exactly.
Bigger
Right.
the world.
Exactly.
That fire, that's gonna be nice. The fires.
Good
It'll be
night.
nice,
I can
yeah.
relate to that, so my boss would build up a new building for the body shop, so I can relate to that.
Gotcha.
Building and this and that.
We've outgrown our space a few decades ago.
Yeah, no, I think I started to notice little smaller buildings. That's all right, that looks very nice for you.
I hope it will be one day,
Yeah.
but it's a long time before it's up.
No, that's all right, man, you got your whole life, that's what they tell me, and I'll say the same to you.
That's right. Step one's gotta happen sometime, so.
Yes.
All right, have a nice day.
Have a good
Have a
night.
nice night. All right, we have a forest cutting plan that came in today. Old West Brookfield Road.
It's the road that the school is on, the high school.
Okay,
Where are they cutting?
I'm always, Flabat, Christopher Flabat is the landowner.
Is that the one across the street from the school, maybe 100 feet to the left of the driveway? Or to the right of the driveway, rather? Toward West Brookfield. There's a dirt road that goes back there.
Okay, I'm looking for them. To Old West Warren Road, there's a right of way, oh boy, oh, okay. Tell me if you can figure that out.
Sure.
Showing us,
Another one on the back side.
ooh, it might. Doesn't really identify, I mean, is that the high school? Is that the high school?
Yeah. That's the high school. This is the disc golf course. Somewhere up in here, I think.
In which direction is that going? Is that going towards West Brookfield? Or is that going
West
towards
Brookfield is
town?
this way. Town is this way.
Oh, so it's closer to
So
town?
this is the river. The school is here. You take your right out of the school driveway and it's across the street. It goes up here.
Oh, interesting, okay.
They logged that probably 20 years ago now, maybe even longer. But there's a dirt road in there, a logging road.
Huh, okay.
think this is Coy Hill Road up here in the back. So
Right.
that's the ZPT solar field right here.
Oh, let me see.
This is Coy Hill, ZPT solar.
Oh, right, okay. And it's like that, the road, okay, interesting. Okay. I don't know that I have any. I'll take those and put it back in. Any issues or complaints? So, Karen, they show the number of stream crossings, which they don't have any, wetland crossings, which they do. And they talk about the length of the crossing. Mitigation is what they're gonna put down to drive over it. And there's, all the information is on here. And these are what they're planning on cutting. And then this goes to the state forester. And he reviews it, he'll come out and look at the property, he'll walk the property, and that is really ultimately it. Then they just include the plans and all the sections. And this is how we can usually identify it. Usually they have a road on it, so we can see this was a little more challenging. And then this is all the butter notices. That goes with that. If you want to take a look at that. Oh, it's a new owner of the property. He's getting rid of the invasive species.
What do they have for invasives?
He said plant invasive species, choking out native plants. The previous harvest from the previous owners. Probably left it open and vulnerable, which happens, as you know. The previous harvest also cut and removed the largest and most valuable trees. So there's a lot of poor quality trees, many of which were damaged by the logging. The practice is known as high grading and is extremely detrimental. We intend to provide important wildlife habitat, especially bird species, by regenerating about 17 acres of land that was severely logged through a reserve seed tree harvest. There will be large valuable trees, about 60 feet apart from each other. It's gonna look nice. Also, we will be thinning from below to improve the forest at about 17 acres. In addition, we're not harvesting trees within the wetland resource, and again, in most places, I left buffer between the property.
Nice.
We,
Sounds like it's being really well done.
the access road for logging equipment by grading, water barring, and placement of rock in wet areas. Yeah.
It is pretty wet back there.
Is wet back there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the back of Coy Hill, everything's wet.
Oh, of course, right. All right, you can file this, Corinne. We've had bills.
Did we ever hear from Mr. Paquette about his property?
He sent a note, he said he did some of the work, and, I said, when the grass has grown in, you can call us, was my response, only because
It's had decent weather for the grass to grow.
It's been dry. grass likes wet. But the cool nights have been good for it.
Yeah.
So he said he cleaned up the silt fence and placed a line of boulders across the backyard so the homeowners can't extend the yard into the wetland boundary. We have also hydroseeded any disturbed areas, so probably all of that section. I don't know if, well, if it takes, it takes, that will be great. Let me know where this leaves me for the certificate of compliance, and I responded and said that, once it's fully stabilized, then we can come out and have another look. We went to look at the site, he's anxious to sell the house, they were trying to close. For the most part, it looks great, it just needs to be stabilized before we issue a certificate of compliance, and that means like the grass needs to be grown in. There were some things that he tended to that will be fine, but we just really need everything to be seeded and stabilized. We sign off on it.
Absolutely.
And that's it. So it may be a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
okay.
What else do we have? All right, so could I have a motion to pay local IQ, Valentini, and what else do we have? Oh, and Corinne.
Corinne, is this?
It was just for mailing to letters. Can I get stamps and being reimbursed for the stamps so I don't have to do silly things like this? Or,
We used to do that. Was there a policy that stopped you guys from buying stamps?
we don't have petty cash.
But what you could do though is you
So
could
how
put
do
in
we
a
do that?
request to have a check cut to the post office for the amount of 100 stamps.
Before I go get it, is that?
Yes. So you just put it, you know how you do your bills? You would just add it to your bill. A
Oh, okay.
request.
Because I don't even know what a roll of stamps is now.
There, I don't know, but you can call them and find out.
All
Or
right.
you can go on the
Well,
site,
I'll be
actually.
in, so I'll go in tomorrow and find out
You
how
can go
much.
into USPS and site. and
But the
we'll-
board has to sign before it actually goes through then. Okay, yeah, because we don't use a lot of stamps or do a lot of certified mail, but this was just 2 letters that went out on, I
Well,
can't remember the name of the.
Every
thing now.
time we send, and you're right, we don't, because, you know, we may have one RDA, we have to, that should be sent certified mail to the applicant.
If we were to fill this out, you
If
mean?
we, every time we have, and if there is,
Unless they pick it up. Some of them
if
opt
they
to
pick it up, then you check that box off
Right.
on it. So this document has that. But if they, in this situation, the homeowner, the landowner is different than the applicant. The applicant's the town, the landowner is somebody else.
So that would have to be mailed.
That would have to be mailed to them, so that's 2 certified letters.
And
but-
that's about $9, $9.68.
Yeah, because it used to be 7 something, I think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not, it's nice.
Okay, so
So-
when that happens, you just go to the post office, and then how do you pay for it?
I just use my account, my
And
debit
then
card.
how do we do that?
I think you should go towards the Board of Selectmen and ask her to have petty cash of $50. And
Okay.
then she reconciles it every month with Dawn.
Yeah.
And then when she gets down to say $10 or $20, she puts it back in.
Okay.
A request for more, is that what it is, or?
Yeah, every month you
Because
have.
you gotta get a lockbox and everything too, because I know that Sarah used to have that for
Yeah,
them.
you have to have a lockbox, you have to have it in
That's
a
why I've
lock-
been doing it this way, because.
And you have to have
just
it in a
seemed-
locked drawer.
A lock drawer instead of a lockbox, or as
Both.
well as well as?
I don't
do
even
you
know
have
if
a-
I have a locked
You
drawer.
have a lot,
Yeah.
filing cabinet?
Just the
The
filing cabinet?
locked drawer is fine.
All right, so I have to put the,
Okay,
all
so.
right, I'll have to clean out that extra drawer.
I
Well,
could,
they're only little,
could I just send a letter to the selectmen?
yes.
I don't have to show up in the meeting, do I?
No,
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I'm there.
Thanks, Karen. I
That's-
know, right?
that's part of
Exactly.
I didn't know what the process was, I mean.
Now
So
we do.
good. All right, that's fabulous. All right, well, that works. Perfect. Okay, let's get back to, can I have a motion to pay local IQ, Corinne, and Valentini?
Make a motion to pay local IQ in the amount of $20.10. Corinne? for- Oh,
It still has a balance on it, so I was gonna ask her what that is. Because isn't the
Did
bill
we-
for more? Because we approved part of it. I don't know if it crossed in the mail,
Okay.
because it's 2 ads, so I think it might have crossed in the mail, so it looks like
Did you
it's
just
more.
receive this today?
No.
Okay, so when you get this and it doesn't make sense for what it is, you need to find out why it's not matching,
I have to go upstairs to talk to,
because what was
Well, no,
it
you probably
paid?
need to call the company and say, why is this different than the bill that I paid?
Well, it just could be, like she said.
This
if-
is a new
If
ad,
Dawn
we
paid
just-
the previous bill, not Dawn,
if it crossed.
if the accountant paid the previous bill, then,
So this is finance charges?
No, it's
no,
one
it's
bill that's
just-
unpaid, but one that's new.
current due, past
Okay,
due, we
okay.
have 30 days past due. And so we could have just missed this, but just to double check.
I'll check with her tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
I'll go up and
All right,
talk
so
to her
we will-
tomorrow with it.
so we're gonna approve 2010?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And there'll be
Fine.
another
Oh.
bill next meeting for the one that we just did, the RDA. There'll be another bill for that one coming in.
In addition to the past due.
In addition to that 20 that we're paying, yeah, I've got to find out where the past due is.
Okay.
But there'll be a whole separate thing for the one we just did. The RDA that we just did, I'm not billed yet, because that just went in on the 5th.
Okay.
Okay. Could I have a motion for sorry, I closed that too early, for Valentini and
Sure.
Corinne.
Corinne, I did have a question. Expenses for mailing in the amount of 202, 2 envelopes. Is that
It was-
202
it was
total, or is that 202 each?
202, it was just 2 regular letters, but the postage went up, so I wanted you to know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, they were a little bit heavy, so they were $1 a piece.
Make a motion for expenses for mailing reimbursed to Corinne Thibodeau in the amount of 202,
Yeah?
and to pay Valentini Land Care in the amount of $615.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Signature?
He's been working hard today on this one. 615.
I think we haven't received a bill in a while.
Mhm.
Last month, we didn't have it, so it's a few months.
We had one last month. 270 last month.
I think he had it itemized, though. I didn't exactly get,
Oh. Let me see. Weeding invasives, 5. Weeding parking lot, weeding watering, other stuff, so he's got 5, 9, 15, 20 hours. I don't know what he gets per hour off the top of my head.
20 exactly, or 20 and a half?
because I thought he was getting.
Oh, you're. It's 20 hours.
So if he's doing $30 an hour, that's 20 and a half hours.
30.75. You know what, I can look it up.
That doesn't seem
I
right.
thought it was 30.
Yeah. I think it's always been 30.
Well, it just went up with
So
the
he-
new,
So, okay, so he's billing an extra
it did go up with the
75
new.
cents an hour?
All right, everybody gets to see my, well, at least everybody here. Well, you know what, we will. I'll have to look it up. But I think that we're fine
Okay.
with this.
All right.
And I'll just look it up, and if there is an issue, I'll have them adjust it for the next.
Nope, I'm fine with it. I just noticed that it was, more than typical, but getting to the end of the
It
summer, if he
is.
did a bunch of weeding, that's fine.
But, okay, Warren, Lucy, line item account, and he has that. Have any questions? Okay. All right, so we have 6:15 for Valentini, 2:02, and then if you would second it,
Second,
all in favor?
All right.
aye.
That was very circuitous.
We had already voted.
Oh, okay, I think I signed
This is the
everything. I might not have
payroll stuff.
signed.
You need those?
Yep, because I'm gonna need new signatures, because I don't think I can use the old ones.
Okay, can I have a motion to ratify payroll for Corinne?
I make a motion to ratify the payroll for Corinne for week ending August 17th in the amount of $144.80, August 24th for $126.70, August 31st for $108.60, and September 7th for $108.60.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There it is.
Okay. That's good. You look really familiar. Where are you from? And you're visiting Warren Conservation because?
Because you're the brightest.
Stop.
It's always good to know your neighbors.
Have you been here before?
No,
No?
Do you have a project you're looking at?
not yet, no.
Not yet.
Yet.
Not yet, but you're considering it. What else do we have?
So ordering those regulation things, they probably have to be paid ahead of it, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten through to somebody.
Oh,
How would we get that?
well, the other thing that we can do is we can have
Did you have the
Karen
hard-
purchase it, and then we can reimburse. How do we purchase things online? Like if
The
there's an online
regulations.
system, like the regulations.
Okay, you can do it a couple of ways. You can set up an account and have Mr. Ferraro set up an account, or we can pay it ahead of time, or,
Because it's all done online.
You have to order the documentation. You just order it from the
order it and reimburse. That's the only way you can do it.
mass.gov is,
Because she sent the link and I went on it,
Did
but
I
it
miss
didn't
one?
say how to
Yeah, I
pay
think you
for
missed
it.
the last one.
oh. Thank you.
Sorry.
No problem.
I know where to find her. I know where to find her.
So we don't have any other way, that's interesting, I can call Jim and say, do we
We
have?
don't have any other way of doing it, and we keep bringing up, the select board keep bringing up that we need a credit card.
Just to,
So we got Amazon now, so we can order off of Amazon.
yeah, but that doesn't help
But
with-
that doesn't help when you're doing something like this.
Right,
You need a credit card. So, yeah, call Jim and say, this is our situation, how do we do it?
okay.
Because
you want
I
me
can
to talk
add
to
you
him
to
about
the
it?
board, I believe,
If you'd like to,
that I
I
can
can
do.
just add it to him.
So if you have other things to talk to him, you can do it, or if you want me to do it, I can
I
do
do
it.
have another thing, I need to
Okay.
reach out to him and then. Yeah, we've had other things in the future with MACC.
Yeah, I'm gonna
When
call
we do
them,
the
I'm actually gonna
classes-
call them tomorrow.
When we do the, there's certain things that, you know, people don't have their website, so you just pay online, but we don't really have the technology. We don't have systems in place with the town because we're still old school. So when we have the big spring conference, what we've been doing, what we used to do is they would bill us, but they don't do that anymore. You would show up and then they would send a bill, and then they would invoice us, but
Well, I know when,
that just doesn't happen
yeah,
anymore.
when Jim and the select board go to anything like that, they pay it and get reimbursed.
Yeah, okay, right, and I think that's what I did the last time, is that I paid it, and it's been a few years, and I couldn't make it this year for whatever reason. I love going to those things.
But I've got to
I like
add
going
her,
when
I'll
they're in
add you
person.
tomorrow.
Yeah, in person, and I had it in
To
person
that.
this
Did I
year.
have one this year?
But I had another commitment, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I usually try to leave that weekend. It's the first weekend in May, so mark your calendar.
Is it May? I thought it was March.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
always
it's
cold.
March, it's always cold, so you're right. And, it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
The first couple, maybe aren't so fun. Like, once you have to do the foundational courses, that you go through, and once you get through the foundational courses, when you go, you can, start taking interesting workshops that are related, and then it's very engaging. It's, there's good debates and conversation.
Awesome.
So, yeah, they end up being good, and it's at Holy Cross, so on the campus, so it ends up being it's a pretty interesting day.
Get a good lunch.
Good lunch.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
You sound like Derek.
As long as they feed them, right?
Exactly.
As long as they feed them.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, did you, is there an agenda published for the meetings, or like beforehand, so you know? what's
There's
gonna
a
happen?
meeting notice that is put out at least 48 hours in advance. It's posted on our website. It's posted right out here.
Yeah, I
So if
try
you
to
go to
get
our
it in the
website-
Thursday before.
So where does it end up on the website?
If you go to the main page of the website, there's a calendar. Click on calendar and it will show you every meeting that we have in town.
All I could find was the August one.
Oh,
And the August meeting notice, because this is on, I put it on.
Well, I'm not that computer savvy, but that's all I found, I'm just fumbling around.
Yeah, it's on the front main page of Warren, and it says calendar. It says news, and then it says calendar, and then it has just news and calendar. And so you click on calendar, and then it brings you up to a little calendar, but right here on the side, it shows you all the meeting notices.
Okay, thank you. There was a time in the past, except to confess, I was on the Spencer ComCom. But it was like 20 years ago, and I forgot a lot of the stuff.
oh, wow.
You know. I don't want to incriminate anybody, but there were developers on the ConCom. And it seemed kind of weird, and there was one guy who, I'm going off on a tangent here, we were putting a trail in, making a sign saying you can't hunt from the trail. And he says, of course you can. We said, no, you can't hunt from the trail, you'll scare people away, they won't use the trail, like, through the woods, basically.
Right, right.
He says, no, we're not gonna put that on the sign saying you can't hunt from the trail. So,
Well, unfortunately, that is not the jurisdiction of conservation at all, with, hunting and trails unless they go through the wetlands.
what you did, there was a bridge they're building over a wetland area,
Yeah.
it was a trail bridge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, so if you do have questions and you want to know what the agenda is and you can't find it, just call.
Okay.
Somebody would be able to.
Yeah, you can call me. I'm extension 106.
You're Kate,
Pardon me?
you're Kate.
Karen.
I'm Karen.
I'm terrible with names too, yeah, Karen.
Yeah, I'm Karen. I'm the selectman's and the town administrator's assistant and conservation board now.
A lot of hats.
Yeah.
Lot, exactly.
And I've been planning board secretary for 3 months.
Interim. No more. Okay.
Well,
Right, so if you do, yeah, feel free to call. or send an email. You can go to the website and then the email will go to, you know, you have to fill out a form. That will get to me.
Yeah.
Corinne is only here for 6 hours, so you may miss her.
But you can leave a message, I can call you back.
But it's, you know, but Corinne is here for 6 hours. So if you go onto the website to conservation, you can send an email that will get to me directly. And I look at my emails daily, so
Thanks for the information.
you should be able to get a response whenever you need that. Is there anything else?
No,
Okay, that's great.
Did you pass the minutes? Vote on the minutes?
Mm.
We didn't vote on the minutes, and there's
But-
only gonna be 2 of us, but I do have a question for you.
Shoot.
As far as, do you know how to update our conservation webpage?
Yep,
Could I ask you to do a couple of things on that?
sure.
The
I put my
hours.
name on it. I changed her hours today. Have you looked at it this afternoon?
I didn't
since
look
you
at
sent
it this
that-
afternoon.
Since you sent that email. I
Nice
changed
meeting
her
you.
hours,
You
Excellent,
as well.
and I put me on.
fantastic, and you took off Otto and Richard?
Yep,
Great, okay.
anything else?
No, not at the moment, but
Okay.
I think I would like to add some things on it, and that
Okay.
could be a conversation for all of us
Sure.
about what we want to put on the website, links to forms and that kind of thing. I have to go and look at it more closely, but if we can put links to the wetland forms,
Yep.
that would be helpful for people, and then some basic guidelines about deadlines. When is our deadline?
Which I did talk to the one that's filing the NOI, what the deadlines are. I did talk to the lady directly, so she knows, and she's hoping to get it in for the in time for the October meeting.
There's somebody who reached out
Yeah, I
from
can't think of-
an energy company, and I think
Yeah.
that they're trying to build an access road. I don't know where it is.
Oh,
They,
is this the one from Brookfield? We talked about kind of.
no. It's a new project.
Hmm.
I don't know where it's located. The person did not was really asking questions, so I'm assuming that they're asking, it's not a wetland specialist who's been
Okay.
reaching out. It seems like it's somebody's administrator who got stuck with a job, and she was trying to find out what the rules are.
Sure.
And, you know, her questions were just, you know, pretty basic.
Total vague, yeah.
Pretty basic, so it wasn't, or they're just new to the business,
Sure.
or, you know, I'm not entirely sure, so that should be coming in. Mr. Callahan should be, submitting some things,
Mm-hmm.
and, I had a.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do it for this meeting.
Well, they still had to delineate the wetlands, so he reached out, I said, these are the things that we need. He hadn't delineated the wetlands yet, I said they need to be flagged, the flagging needs to be on a surveyed plan, and then we can send somebody out. Because we don't send somebody out to do the work, we send somebody out to do a quick check. When I say quick, it's, 100 acres, so it's not really quick,
Mhm.
but they'll take a few days sometimes
Mhm.
to go out, and they look at the topography,
Right.
and there's the obvious wetlands that have been flagged, but they look at other areas that may not be flagged, that could be, based on the topography, potential areas for
Yeah.
wetlands. And then they go look at Mass GIS and a variety of other things, so. We're waiting for, he's going to give us the plans and a deposit to put in escrow to hire a peer reviewer, and then.
Which is the check we're looking at, I told you
Well, we
about.
need the check, and we need the
Yeah.
plans.
Did you see it?
We need that and the plans, and then we can make some phone calls about who we want to send out.
Sure.
Okay, so now I have another question. Do you want me to open mail that comes to conservation in case it's something that needs to be acted upon sooner than
Then I can get to
than
it.
she gets in?
You know, what is really helpful is the forest cutting plan has a limited number of days for us to get back.
So get it, scan it, and send it to you.
That would be very helpful, because
Right.
that way we can at least take a quick look at
Okay.
it and just say, yeah, this is something that we have. I mean, again, like I said, rarely do we have concerns about the forest cutting plan, but every once in a while, there have been a couple of times when it's been, ooh.
We don't have much jurisdiction over it anyway, though, right?
No, but we do,
We can comment.
we can comment, and so I have called the state forester and said, you know what, I actually know this area to be, because I've been on the site for something, or, you know, over the
Sure.
years, things happen, or you just know it because you've lived here all of your life, and you know that happens to be a bigger, you know, whatever, so it's usually.
Like this one, I've been up on that property before a bunch of times.
Yeah,
So,
so sometimes it's like, this isn't quite right, but
So
it's
if those
fine.
come in, you want that as soon as possible?
Yeah, those are, because there is a
So I mean,
deadline
if you want to,
for a response.
I don't have a problem. If
No,
she
I was
doesn't have a
just-
problem, I
I
don't
was
have a
just
problem
thinking,
with it.
because that came in on Monday.
Oh, the one that I opened today?
Uh-huh. And I didn't know I needed to, you know, so,
Oh, no, so if it's within the week, if you just get the forest cutting plan and we're gonna meet, like within the week, you don't have to do
Okay.
anything special,
Okay.
but if it's, you
like
know,
if
we
it
have
came in
4
on
weeks.
Monday,
They came in on Monday, that would be great, because we would lose our window to comment,
okay.
and then, you
Got
know,
it.
it's fine to have a quick look at it. Did you read the minutes by any chance?
I got halfway through, most of the way through.
And it's just gonna be you and me, so we have to do a special vote on this.
Okay.
I'm not really sure
As
how
long
to.
as, I was gonna say, if you know how to do that.
Well, we'll just, you know, Otto retired, so we won't be able to.
That's all you have to say.
We have, I had another woman, Otto, encouraged her to reach out to me,
Mhm.
and we played tag, and then I haven't heard from her. I was looking forward to having,
Or, yeah,
this
And
other
Tiff hasn't
person.
gotten back to you either,
Who?
my daughter. She was another one that
She
was
hasn't?
interested in, she's interested, yes, but I don't know what her problem is. I keep telling
Okay.
her she needs to call.
Well, we're still here.
She
and
needs-
it's still on the website.
Hmm?
I changed it to 2 versus 3.
All right, I make a motion to ratify the minutes of August 14th.
Second, that's both of us. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then Corinne, just note that
Mhm.
it's only,
Yep.
the two of us because Otto resigned. Is there anything else on here?
Not September, it's
I don't think
August.
that there's anything. So, next, what is that, I think that I'm gonna be on vacation next month
Hmm.
during our meeting. I'm hoping that I am. We are gonna be in Maine. And the only thing that would stop it is that in the middle of vacation, I was subpoenaed for Mr. Burke
Yes, I remember you saying that.
72 Cronin Road, and we asked that they move the court date. The plaintiff said sure, and the defendant said no.
Burke
Yeah, said no. So now we're asking just that I be deposed instead.
did.
So
Okay.
because there's no reason that they can't just ask me and then videotape it or whatever. There's a number of things that can be done. Still waiting for a response for that, but I need to know, by the 25th of this month. So in 2 weeks, I need an answer.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, I'm gonna have to just cancel all of our plans and we lose some money in the process, which is so entirely frustrating
Yeah.
Mhm.
for
Sorry.
this. But we, so if I'm gonna assume the best, and that I'm going on vacation.
Mhm.
So when can we meet again? And I can't do it the following Wednesday, because then I have something else. Can we do it?
When will you get back?
I should get back on the 14th.
But you had said you had something on the 16th?
Yeah, I have,
So basically, we have the 2nd or the 23rd.
The 23rd, I'm taking the para test.
We could do
And I
do
won't get
15.
out of there till 6.
the Tuesday, the 15th.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
And does that work for you too?
That's better, because the 23rd, I probably am taking a test in Worcester.
Can
Not
we-
sure yet, I'm tentatively scheduled, so I might have to switch to the Tuesday instead of the Wednesday.
The
But
Tuesday the 15th? Or
no,
Tuesday the 22nd?
22nd, it's
Okay.
the 23rd, test is scheduled, but the
Right.
school's trying to work it out, so they'll come to us instead of us trying to go to them, because they want us all done by the end of December. So it doesn't leave us much time at 2 a month.
There's an
And it's
exam
always on a Wednesday.
for paraprofessionals?
Yep, and they're
makes
starting it
sense.
at 2:30, so we're gonna have to leave early. I
So
just wanna do it and get it over with.
do we want to set the meeting now, or do you want to wait until the 25th?
We can set it now and do it subject to change.
I can do Tuesdays, I mean, if that works better for you, whatever.
Should we just plan on the 15th and call it good?
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
Plan on the
October
15th.
15th,
Plan on the 15th and call it good.
which is a Tuesday. Oh, that works.
At 7 o'clock?
Yep.
Will we be able to get this room?
Yes.
Does anybody have, yeah?
Um,
No,
Nobody has Tuesday meetings?
Board of
Okay.
Health usually meets on Tuesday, though.
not that Tuesday.
They're not meeting that week, okay.
No, they don't. They usually meet on the second Tuesday. That is third Tuesday.
Because Dan said something about a meeting next week. Do they have another meeting next week?
All right, we'll just have to book the room first.
You know what?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter, because I'll put it on the calendar, and if they want to have a meeting there, they can go to FinCom.
So I think that,
That's the third.
right now, we don't really have anything, we will have that, that one project, if the woman gets the paperwork in.
But it'll be good, because she's got a little
And
more
then
time
we
to play
might,
now.
we won't have anything for, Mr. Callahan's
Not yet.
project by then. We'll be doing the preparatory stuff, but we'll have no official filing. So it really will just be that one project.
If she's
she gets
getting it in,
on
because
time.
she's
Possibly.
determined to get it in.
Say that again?
Possibly Paquette to sign off on his orders.
Yeah, but we can even just do that. We only need 2 signatures on that,
Okay.
so, we can have a third, and then we can ratify it afterward.
Okay.
So if he needs that, we can,
Can do a porch signature, type of deal.
no, not a forged signature.
No, porch.
Oh, we can do a porch signature, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So, because we meet once a month and sometimes we need something, for the certificate of
Yeah.
compliance to
Yep.
help the applicant out, we go and visit the site, one of us at least. And then we leave the paperwork, filled out paperwork on the porch for signatures, on my porch. Or we can, you're working in the office, so that's like easy, but it's easy for Philip to go to my porch after work when the town offices are closed. So we just,
So we can always give you a badge to get into the building.
After hours?
Oh, yeah,
Really?
oh, yeah.
I
yeah,
never
but
knew that was
then he's
possible.
gotta get to a place inside, so that's a key to the mailroom, a key to the office.
No,
Yep.
the key to the office, it opens the key to the mailroom.
The key to the, okay, so he would need a key to the office too, yeah,
So we can do that.
okay.
So that way,
Either
whatever's
either.
easiest for you.
Either-
I'm just
or-
saying, if it's easier for you to stop in here, then you can do that. We can set that up.
Doesn't matter either way. It's worked for years to go to your house.
For years, there's always been different policy on who gets keys and who doesn't, and so this is just the way that we've been doing it.
Sure.
Not anymore.
Okay, all right.
Karen, I'll let you know on that 23rd thing of October if it's going or not. So you can stick it on the website, that'll be on the 22nd.
Back to Corinne.
I'm just hoping they just get it done.
All right,
So we're not issuing this.
No, not until, I'm just gonna send Jim a note.
I'll just keep it in the file then, when it's ready,
Yeah.
it'll be done.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn?
second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Dan.